Okay, good morning everyone, and Chazak Baruch. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Thursday morning. I just got off the phone with a soldier in Israel. We took this initiative, Brothers in Arms, in one of the classes that I give on Tuesday night, where we have around 40, 50 guys that come every Tuesday night to learn right here in the synagogue. And we started something a few weeks ago, that each person in the class would take the name of another soldier in a certain unit, and we're going to pray and learn and have this soldier in mind. This soldier will be our soldier. And I just got off the phone. With this soldier that I'm, taking upon myself to try to do whatever I can from here. And he said to me, "You have no idea how much protection we're getting, how confident we feel, the miracles that we're seeing from our end. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep praying, guys. You're doing so much for us." So Rabotai, I want you to realize that the soldiers need us. We need them, and it's really a relationship that's going on over here. We have to realize that we are making a difference. We are doing a lot. We're sending over these angels that are protecting the Chayalim so that they can do what they need to do with the help of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem should bless us and give us the strength to keep doing all the classes, all the learning, all the praying, all the chesed, whatever it is that we can do, whatever our Kabbalah was. Please continue. Let us stay strong. Chazak v'yamet lebabchem. Let us keep doing what we're doing in order to help Be'ezrat Hashem bring this Geulah, bring the Mashiach very quickly, speedily, and in our days. Amen. My friends, Perashat Chayei Sarah, we got up to yesterday the topic where Eliezer finds the wife for Yitzchak. Her name is Rivka, and he makes a sign, a deal with God, that whoever I ask to give me to drink and my camels, and she'll give, and she'll be the one that's right for Yitzchak. And this wasn't just like a random sign, heads or tails. This was to see if she has good midot, if she has a good character, if she's a chesed, ba'alat chesed. In general, by the way, in life, it's important to remember that us and our spouse are usually going to be opposites. Opposites attract. When God creates a wife for Adam, he says, "Eselo ezer kenegdo." Let me make him a ezer, a helper, but kenegdo, she has to be opposite. When a husband and wife are the same, it's no good. It's got to be different. If your wife or your husband is always against you, always telling you things, not always, but if often you feel like they're telling you, they're challenging you, that's not a bad thing. It's good to be challenged. It's good. That's how I grow. That's how I become stronger. I get a different perspective. And so as an example, we find that Avraham, who represents chesed, that was his trait. He was a man of kindness. Avraham is all over. The Torah is replete with stories of chesed of Avraham Avinu. But he marries a Sarah Imenu. And what was Sarah's trait? What was she known for? Believe it or not, Sarah is a tough woman. She is deen. She is very disciplined. She's very structured. She is the, opposite of chesed. You understand? And so we find that Sarah always creates boundaries. She's not overflowing like Avraham was. Avraham brings people into the house. Sarah is kicking people out of her house. She says, "Get Ishmael out of here. He's a bad influence." Of course, she wasn't against chesed, God forbid, that's what I'm trying to say. But it means that she represented a certain idea of the balance of too much chesed is no good either. Unfortunately, we're witnessing that today, where people are taking this idea of, free Palestine, and just, let it live and let live, and just, that's not chesed. Taking chesed to an extreme of no borders, let them just roam. We shouldn't control the ports. We shouldn't control the airspace. But that's also ridiculous, because look what happens. Look what happens when you let just Arabs roam into Gaza, into Israel. A lot of these Palestinians were people that beforehand were able to walk into Israel freely, walking into all these kibbutzim. One lady said that she was the painter. He came, he painted my house. They're friendly, they're smiling. A lot of these Palestinians, they roamed right into Israel, and then they knew the schedule. They knew where the house is, where to come in from. That's how October 7th happened. So much of it was because there was a lack of border, there was a lack of rules, there was a lack of structure. Chesed, too much chesed is no good. You need to balance out the chesed with someone like Sarah Imenu. Well, Yitzchak was like his mother. He was very, very deen, very fair, rules. He needs to balance himself out with the opposite, with a Rivka Imenu. And that's why God makes Eliezer makes a deal with God. He makes a deal, a sign, a test. Who's going to be a woman of kindness? That's what Rivka needs. That's what Yitzchak needs. He needs a woman like Rivka, someone who's very kind. So opposites attract, okay? And he finally finds the girl, and we saw yesterday beautiful Ora Haim, gems of different lessons that we learn from just little bits and pieces of the sign and the conversation, but that he has with Rivka, where she gives him and the camels. Well, let's move on today. Finally, after he asks her about to give him to drink, he gets to the point. Because all of this is really just a test. But the goal is to find a wife for Yitzchak. So she finally gives him to drink and his camels. And now he says, okay, let's get down to business. Vayomer bat mi'at. Okay, who's your father? Who's your father? Tell me. Please let me hear that you're somehow related to Avraham Avinu. Right? Vayomer bat mi'at. Who are you? Hagidan Ali, please tell me. Hayesh bet avich makom lanu lalinen. Do you have a place for us to sleep? Batomer, and she says, Bat Betuel, I am the daughter of Betuel, who is Ben Milka, the son of Milka, who is the wife of Nahor. So I am the granddaughter of Nahor. Wow, Nahor is the brother of Avraham. Bingo! Okay, the stars aligned. And Vatomer Elav, and she answers the second question, which, by the way, over here we learn, answer with first question first and the second question second. First question, who's your father? She tells him. Second question, do you have a place? She says, yes, we do. Vatomer, gam tevin, gam espora, vimanu, gam makom, lalun. Okay, we have a place to sleep, we have enough straw, whatever you need. He bows to Hashem. He says, thank you, Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Elokei Adoni Avraham. Thank you, God. That was easy. And she runs and tells her mother, and that the good news, she's engaged. Mazal tov. Okay, remember we saw yesterday that he gave her the bracelets and everything. Now, that's an Ora Haim's actual question right here. He says like this. Here we are, Pasuk 23. Samach shte ha'she'elot. Eliezer asks two questions in a row. Who's your father? And do you have a place for me to stay? Now, time out. 1 second. What if her first question was, my father is a random? Would he still want to stay by them? The second question is only a good question to ask if the first question works out to be family. If the first question, she says, I'm family, then he says, okay, great, can I stay by you? Because now we're going to be making a bazra, we're going to be making a shidduch, we're going to be making a match, so I need to stay by you. But imagine for a second that Rivka says, oh, I'm some random guy's daughter. Eliezer, abort mission. He's not going to want to sleep by them, it's a waste of time. Who are you? We don't know you. Move on to the next girl. So Ora Haim wants to know, why does he ask both questions in a row without waiting to see what the answer to the first question was? Lehagid, to tell you, says the Ora Haim. Eliezer was not asking, are you from Abraham's family? Like we thought. No. He was not at all in doubt. Im haya mesupak, as if he was, then he should not have asked question 2. Do you have a place to stay? Until he knows, im derech nachon lefanav. Until he first realizes, is this path successful? Is this the right family? Elavadai, but for sure, he'emin b'Hashem. Eliezer had faith in God. Ki hitzliach darko, that his mission was a success. He knew this is family. He knew this is the girl. What was he asking when he says, who's your father? He wasn't asking to know is a family. But mi'at, he was asking a very simple question. What's his name? I just want to know, when I meet your dad, what do I call him? Right? When a boy proposes to a girl and the father says Mazal Tov, he says, so tell me about what's your father's name. He doesn't want to know the name to know if it's still going to be a good shidduch or not. He just needs to know technically, what do I call him? How do I refer to him? This is what Eliezer wanted to know. What's your father's first name? Okay? He didn't want to know anything more than that. As far as family, he was confident This is the right family. And that's why, before she even answers, before she says anything, he says, and by the way, could I stay by you? Because whatever your father's name doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the fact that I'm going to stay by you, because he was sure that this is the right girl. And she answers, my father's name happens to be Betuel. Okay, fine. Now, next pasuk, she goes home, she tells her mom, Ul Rivka ushmo Lavan. Look at this. Now Rivka has a brother. His name is Lavan. We all know Lavan. Lavan is infamous. He's going to be actually a main character, a big player for the next few weeks, Lavan. He's the brother of Rivka. He's also going to be the father, okay, spoiler alert, he's going to be the father of Rahel and Leah, who later on Rivka's son Yaakov comes to marry. So Lavan's very involved. And we introduced him right here, right now. Rivka has a brother, his name is Lavan. So yes, by the way, that means that Yaakov marries his first cousin. Yaakov's mother was Rivka, and her brother is Lavan, and his daughters are Rahel and Leah. So Yaakov marries his first cousin. Rivka ushmo Lavan, vayarot Lavan el ha'ish hachutza el ha'ayin. So Rivka's brother is Lavan, and he runs out to the man to the well. Okay, simple pasuk, no? Or Hayyim has what to say. Our rabbis tell us that many times in the Torah you'll find his name was so-and-so, or so-and-so was his name. What's the difference? Right? We have a song, right? Old MacDonald had a farm and Bingo was his name-o, right? Bingo was his name, or his name was Bingo. Is there a difference in phraseology? If I say his name was Bingo, or Bingo was his name, it says Ora Haim, oh yes, very big difference. Hatzadikim, righteous people, Shemam Kodem Lahim. The word, his name, comes before their name. So the tzaddik, it should say, his name is Bingo. Okay, I guess Bingo wasn't such a good guy. Right? Like it says, Ushmo Boaz. His name is Boaz. Boaz was a very good guy. Or Shem Ha'ish Elimelech. Shem, name, was Elimelech. So the name and then the name. But the word name comes before their actual name. That's a good guy. Reshaim, wicked people, Hem Kodmim Lishmam. Wicked people, their actual name precedes the word Shemo. Right? Bingo was his name-o. That's not a good thing, okay? Maybe they didn't know this midrash. That's why they put the song like that, right? They should have said, his name was Bingo, right? That's better. But either way, as an example, Naval Shemo. Naval Shemo. Naval was his name. So you see, that's a bad guy. Fine. Now, we come to our pasuk. Was Lavan good or bad? Lavan, bad guy. So what should it have said? It should have said, if he's bad, Lavan is his name. Lavan is his name. It should have said it. Lavan Shemo. Look in the pasuk, Chavtet. Right? Rivka ach, Rivka is a brother. Ushmo Lavan. And his name is Lavan. Oh, what's going on over here? That's usually the recipe. That's usually the phrase. That's how you phrase for a good guy. Ushmo Lavan. Why is it phrased like this? Good question, huh? It's not my question. This is the Ora Hayim's question. Amazing. I don't know. I would never think of this question. But that's why we're studying him. To understand this, we have to first explain. We have to raise another question. We have to answer the question with a question. It says Vayarotz. It says that he ran towards the man. Okay. Lamaratz. Why did he run? Why did he run to Eliezer? Why didn't he walk to Eliezer? Now, Rabotenu, our rabbis say, Lefi Shira'am Nezeh. He ran because he saw money. He saw jewelry. He saw she had rings, bracelets, and a wicked person, his eyes only think about money and money and money. And so the second he saw money, they're rich. The family, they're rich, right? Very sad. Unfortunately, today, many people, when coming to dating, when it comes to marriage, this is the biggest concern. This is the main priority. If they have money, it's good. Go for it. Even though it may not be a good family, even though the person himself may be very lacking in certain important traits. Somehow, if there's money, beautiful, we're happy. That's not a Jewish way of thinking. Lavan, that's how he thought. Lavan said, they have money. We're rich. Let me run and greet him. And maybe he'll give me something too. I could maybe squeeze him for some box seats to the Yankee game. Right? So he says like this. That's one opinion, that he was running because he saw money. But really, he says it still doesn't clearly, fully explain the pasuk. Because it should have said, look at the pasuk. It says in pasuk Chavtet, pasuk 29, that he ran. Vayarot, he ran. It only says in pasuk 30 that he saw the jewelry. If he was running because of the jewelry, then pasuk 30 should have been before pasuk 29. It should have said he saw the jewelry, and that's why he ran. But it doesn't. It says he ran, and then he saw the jewelry, and then he walked. Okay? So obviously the reason that he ran can't be because of the jewelry. There are different ways to answer this question, by the way. One answer I remember always hearing as a kid was that he ran because he thought the shidduch was for him, maybe. Maybe Abraham had a daughter. So he ran. And then when he saw his sister have the jewelry, he realized, oh man, okay, looks like she's the one that's going to get married, not me. So he got less excited. That's one way to answer the question. Okay, but Hakavana, he explains Ora Hayim. Ki ha'ish Lavan harad likrat ha'ish. You know why? You know why Lavan ran? And the second answer will answer our first question. He ran because he heard that Eliezer approached his sister. He's a stranger. And he suspected that Eliezer maybe did something to his sister. He took advantage of his sister. And that's why he ran. He heard there was this big random stranger guy outside talking to his sister. He said, who is this guy with 10 camels talking to my sister? He thought for sure Eliezer must have done something to her. Lavan, therefore, he gathered himself. He got dressed, as so to speak, in zealotry, with kin'ah ve'ratz likrato lifgoa bo bekanoto. He enveloped in a zealous rage, and he ran toward Eliezer to attack him. He was right here running, not to greet him. He was running to attack. He was going to get vengeance for his sister. How dare you touch my sister? How dare you talk to my sister? Don't you dare talk to her. Who do you think you are? So he was running to defend his sister. Ultzat behinat ma'aseh zeh. Now, because of this course of action, Yiches Hashem referred to him in a righteous way. Ushmo Lavan. Because he was doing a righteous thing, protecting his sister. It's true he's a bad guy. It's true maybe in general. But what does that have to do with this? Right now you're doing something beautiful. And therefore you deserve credit where credit is due. God does not withhold reward that is due any creature. And if right here you're doing something good, good for you. Give credit where credit is due. And that's something that, by the way, is an important lesson. A lot of times in life, we are extreme. We're black or white. Either you're good or you're bad. Either you're a good person, and then everything you do is good, or you're a bad person, and anything you do is bad. And if I don't like you, if you're not on my side, if you're not on my team, if usually we don't see eye to eye politically, then whatever you say is bad. Whatever you do is wrong. But that's not true. That's not how God talks. God doesn't talk like that. Right? God says, you could be a bad person, you could be a Lavan, or wicked, whatever, but bottom line, you did something good. And credit, right? Give credit where credit is due. And Lavan, you did something nice over here. Okay? We're going to be honest. We got to be intellectually honest. This was good. Good for you. Hazaku Baruch. Good job. You get credit. We're going to call you, in this act at least, right here, we're going to call you Shemo Lavan. His name is Lavan. We're going to refer to you as a good guy because you're doing something positive. And it's not black or white in life. It's not all good or all bad. People have good and bad in between. And therefore it's important to be able to decipher, to distinguish between individual acts, even though the person that's doing them may not always represent the act that they're doing, for good or for bad. Fine. Vayikirot, and then he sees the jewelry. And what does that mean? So he was running because he was trying to get vengeance for his sister. But then, right, he suspected, like we said, he suspected Eliezer of having done something with his sister. But Kirot Hanezim, once he saw, next pasuk, once he sees the jewelry, and he hears, she's engaged, I misunderstood the story. Shavapo, his rage went away. Ve'afal piken, and he still went out to greet Eliezer. Lo lehara, not to attack him. Ela adraba, but to the contrary, leha'achsino, to invite him in. Ulachzik lo tova, and to, thank him for his kind deed. So Lavan over here, there's a misunderstanding. You understand? He assumes in the beginning that Eliezer is here to hurt his sister, and then he finds out, he sees the jewelry, there's clarity, and then, he goes, he gives him a hug, he gives him a kiss, he welcomes him in, and that is that. Beautiful. Fine. Well, the next pasuk says, Vayavo el ha'ish. He comes to this person. Vehine omed al ha'ain. So the pasuk says, he comes out to greet Eliezer, and he sees that Eliezer is standing over the camels, over the spring. What does that mean? Standing over the camel. Simply it means he's watching the camel. Right? He's standing on top of the camel. You don't stand on a camel. Either you sit on a camel or you stand next to it. No one's usually doing standing exercises on camels, okay? Especially camels that have humps, not easy to stand on. Okay? So Tzarich Ladat asks the Ora Hayim, we have to really explain, Ma ba lelamedenu. What is the pasuk coming to teach us? Be'omro vehine omed. What does the pasuk coming to teach us when it says that he comes? Not only that, that's one question. And it says, vehine omed ala gemalim ala ayin. You understand? Over here, it says, behold, he was standing over the camels. What does it mean, behold? Usually the word behold, vehine, means something surprising. What was he surprised about? Vehine, he was surprised. My friends, I'm going to share with you a midrash that's very surprising. And this is why you come to the class, to hear things like this maybe. Okay. He says, our rabbis tell us, Eliezer, right away, he sees Lavan running to him. When Lavan was still under the wrong impression, he sees Lavan coming with a very hostile, aggressive approach. He realized Lavan's here to attack me. So what did Eliezer do? So here we go, my friends. These are the midrashim. The midrashim, we have to study them with the utmost reverence and respect, and realize that the midrashim are very deep, and they are given at Sinai, and maybe we don't understand them, what they're trying to convey, but there is a very important and deep message. But over here, we're going to read it at face value. What Eliezer does over here, he's Skir Shema Meforash. He utters the name of God. Wow. And the camels started to float in midair, over the well. And that's what it means when the pasuk says, Hagemalim al ha'ayin, that the camels were over the well. Okay? Eliezer standing on the camels that are on the well. The camels were on the well. Okay? How did they get on the well? So again, according to the Midrash, there's something very magical going on over here, where he utters the Shema Meforash. Vehu omed ala gemalim, and Eliezer himself is on top of them. Okay, so Eliezer is on the top of the camels who are floating over the well. I mean, this is wild stuff. Okay, you can't make this up. Okay, but this is what the Midrash says. Again, what's the message? What's the Midrash trying to say? These are way beyond. And I'm sure there are commentaries that explain the depth of these midrashim. But at least according to the midrash, what we did gain is as follows: Umimakom gavoa karalo Lavan. Lavan calls out to Eliezer, And what does he say? It says, if you look in Pasuk 31, he runs out, he sees the jewelry, Vayomer, and he says, Bo Beruch Hashem. Lavan says to Eliezer, come. Ve'achar sheba memakom gavoa. And only after he says come, does he say, Lama ta'amod bahutz. Why do you stand outside? Interesting way to phrase it. Or Hayim says, it should be the opposite. First you should say, why do you stand outside? Please come in. That's the right way to say. That's the right way to talk. Why are you outside? Please come in. But he doesn't say that. He says, please come. Why do you stand outside? So explains Ora Hayim, he wasn't telling him, please come in. He was telling him, please come down. Yeah, Bo, please come down so we can talk. And I'm no longer upset at you because I see the jewelry. I understand what exactly you were here to do. And please come inside. Okay, and with this, there are no more questions. Amazing to see how sometimes, again, you could explain. And this is something, by the way, that's important to remember. When we study Midrashim, and again, a lot of times Midrashim seem very, exaggerated. And a lot of times they are not meant to be understood literally. A lot of times they are meant to convey a very deep and important message. But whatever the point is, the Midrashim, I want you to know, are always saying what they're saying because of a text problem in the actual text. We often think that Pshat means reading the Pasuk literally, and then Midrash is reading it in an exaggerated way. It's the exact opposite. Midrash reads the Pasuk literally. Pshat reads the Pasuk in a very loose way. That's what Pshat does. So as an example, when it says that he was standing over the camels, the Pshat says it means he was standing next to the camels. The Drash says, no, he was standing over. That's what it says. We got to understand it. And the camels were over the well. So we're going to understand that literally. And that's what Midrashim do. And sometimes with that the Midrashim, they explain the text on an actual literal level. And then you answer questions that this is what the Ora Hayim explains. That's the next phrase. That's the next pasuk. That's why he says come before he says come on in. Okay? Because come means please come down. Okay? And then please enter the house. Really fascinating stuff from the Ora Hayim. Another answer to this question. V'hinei omed. What does it mean that he's standing? Shehagam sheshaol sha'ala ishet Rivka yesh bet avich makom. Even though Eliezer asked Rivka, do you have a place for us to stay? And she said, yes, I do. Look at this lesson. Eliezer, even though she said, yes, come on in, Eliezer still didn't accept that invitation. He did not follow her. He was patient and he waited until he was invited by the master. Rivka is the daughter. She doesn't have the right to invite him in. And Eliezer understood respect, and he dare not invite himself just because of an invitation of a little girl. He waited to be invited by the host of the house, by the master of the home. Okay? Fine. One last tiny piece. He comes in and he says to them, he tells them the whole story. He repeats the whole story from beginning to end, Eliezer. And he says, a very long chapter, by the way, because it could have said, and he told them everything. It doesn't say it. It says the whole story again. So let's say it's 30 verses long, then it repeats the 30 verses. 60 verses, unnecessary. It could have said, and he told them what happened. And they said, Mazal Tov L'chaim. Why does the Torah go and repeat every phrase again and again and again? And this is what the commentaries go through. And they notice differences between the real story and the way Eliezer retells it. Eliezer has to sell the shidduch. He's got to convince the family. He's got to make a match over here. He's a salesman. Abraham knows what he's doing when he hires a matchmaker. And you'll see throughout the different commentaries that you'll read, they'll all show you each one different, a nuance of what happened and what Eliezer actually said happened. And just to give you one example from the Ora Hayim, Pasuk Memhei, Pasuk 45. He says to them, I made a deal with God. Who will give me to drink and my camels to drink? And he says, Tere mechalel daber lebi. Right after I said to my heart this deal, all of a sudden Rivka walks out. So the Or HaHaim says, why does Eliezer add the word el libi? Once I finish making my prayer in my heart. Why didn't he just say, once I finished making my prayer, Rivka came out? In the original story, when it actually happened, he doesn't say my prayer was in my heart. He just says, when I made my prayer. What does it mean when my prayer? So why is Eliezer adding in my heart? So look what he says, Shalal, he's coming over here. He's stressing that I spoke it in my heart. He's ruling out the possibility, Shalal, ki lo shma'to ozen, that anyone heard him. If he didn't say it in his heart, maybe someone overheard me, and that's why Rivka came. Because she really heard, she was eavesdropping on me praying. She said, oh, okay, there's a rich boy. Let me come and do chesed. She overheard me making this deal. She was eavesdropping. She heard me say out loud that I'm going to give to my camels. That's why she offered my camels. So Eliezer is coming to rule out that option. No one heard my prayer. Her actions were not a reaction to what I said. Her actions were sincere because she didn't hear me, because no one heard me, because I was saying it el libi. I was saying it in my heart. Okay. And finally he says, one last difference. Look at this one. And then we'll stop for today. I asked her, Va'omar bat mi'at, who are you? And she said, I'm Betuel's daughter. And then I gave her the jewelry. So according to Eliezer's version of what happened, I asked her, who are you? And then I gave her the jewelry. Now, is that actually what happened in real time? In real time, Eliezer gave the jewelry first. And then asked, what's your name? Yes? Just go back. Go back to Pasuk 22. Go to Pasuk 22. It says, he took out the jewelry and he gave it to her. 23, he asked, who are you? Right? 22 and 23. Now you come to our Pasuk that we're studying here. And he says, Pasuk 47, I asked her, who are you? And then I gave her the jewelry. Unbelievable. So he literally flips the order of what happened. He changes history. Right? Why does he do that? Shina, he changed what happened. He changed the order of the events. But it was all calculated. You know why? Out of concern for Betuel and Lavan's being tricksters. Out of their deceit. Why? Ki yomru, if he told them how the story actually happened, that he gave her the jewelry first. Oh, you know what would happen? Yomru shenatan hahafatzim kodem latad ma sheshemashto. They would say that Eliezer actually gave the items to Rivka before asking her family in exchange for helping him with the camels. Now the halacha is hem nogeim le'aviyah. A girl who works and she makes money, the money goes to her dad because her dad's giving her rent, her dad's providing her with shelter, her dad's giving her food. So if a girl makes money, the money technically goes to the father. Again, it's a complicated halacha, but Rivka over here, she is working. She draws water for a stranger, and the stranger pays her for her time. The money should belong to her parents. The money should go to Betuel. And therefore, therefore Eliezer was very clear. I asked her, who are you? She said, I'm Betuel's daughter. I said, Mazal Tov, and then I gave her the jewelry. The jewelry was not payment for drawing the water. If it was payment for drawing the water, then Lavan and Betuel would think that they have rights to it. But it wasn't. I asked her who she is. It was for Sharchanut. It was a Mazal Tov. It was a dowry. It was a gift. It was a sweni. It was, right, a shower gift. And Lazeh Higdim, therefore he first had to preface. He first asked the name, and then he gave her the jewelry. This was a gift for the groom and the bride, and therefore her father has no rights to them. No rights to them, and that's why Eliezer switches the order of the story. Really fascinating stuff, my friends, from the Or HaHaim HaKadosh. We'll stop over here, and hope you enjoyed today's class. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.